Character profile, Cyan Garamonde, the blazing fist of Doma. Title, The Last Night of the Fire. Crystal, the unbroken blade, age, late 30s. Homeland, the kingdom of Doma, nestled in the volcanic highlands near Mount Zozo. Concept, a traditionalist knight whose honor and martial prowess are fueled not by rage, but by the focused, burning spirit of the fire crystal. His tragedy is one of corruption and betrayal, turning his greatest strength into his ultimate loss. Eye appearance and demeanor. Physique, tall and powerfully built, but with the lean muscle of a practiced swordsman rather than a brutish warrior. His posture is perpetually perfect, a ramrod-straight backbone of discipline. Armor. His armor is a masterwork of blackened steel and deep crimson enameling, etched with fiery motifs and the crest of Doma, a phoenix rising from a volcano. It is functional and imposing, scarred from battle but always impeccably maintained. Face and hair. His hair and meticulously trimmed mustache are not the classic blue of his original incarnation, but a deep charcoal black, often seen with faint reddish highlights as if reflecting embers. His eyes are a sharp, intense amber, capable of both warm loyalty and fierce judgment. His face is lined with the stress of command and recent tragedy, but his gaze remains unwavering. Demeanor. Cyan carries himself with immense gravitas and stoicism. He is formal, polite, and measured in all things. Unlike a berserker's wild fire, his is the controlled, intense heat of a forge, focused, purposeful, and devastatingly efficient. He speaks in a similarly archaic and formal manner, often referring to proverbs and the code of the flame. 2. History and backstory. Doma was not a quiet river fortress, but a mighty kingdom built upon the geothermal vents of a dormant volcano, chosen for its proximity to the fire crystal. The crystal's energy did not grant mere destructive power, but indomitable spirit, unwavering courage, and mastery over one's inner fire. Cyan was the captain of the Knights of the Phoenix, an order sworn to protect the fire crystal. He was a paragon of its virtues. A devoted husband to his wife, Lorna, a proud father to his son, Isawa, and a loyal knight to his king. His life was one of perfect balance, the heat of battle tempered by the warmth of his home. The Empire's invasion, led by Kefka, did not involve poison. Instead, Kefka performed a horrific act of magical sabotage. Using a twisted, artificial magicite, he corrupted the fire crystal itself. The pure, sustaining flame that empowered Doma's knights was inverted into a berserker's rage, a consuming madness. In a single, horrific night, the very knights Cyan had trained and led, and his own beloved family, were driven insane by the corrupted energy flowing through the kingdom. They turned on each other and themselves in a frenzy of uncontrolled fire and violence. Cyan, through his immense force of will and pure connection to the crystal's true essence, resisted the full effect, but he was forced to witness the annihilation of everything he held dear, and was ultimately forced to cut down his own rabid kin to survive. The fire crystal, its energy expended in the catastrophic event, shattered. He alone remained, the sole unbent blade in a scabbard of ashes. His quest is not just for revenge, but for atonement and the purification of the fire crystal's name. 3. Personality and psychology. Core conflict. The struggle between his innate honor, the true fire, and the grief, guilt, and anger, the corrupting fire, that threatened to consume him. He fears his own power, worried that the rage of that night still lingers within him. Strengths. Unshakably loyal, incredibly disciplined, wise, courageous, and a natural leader. He possesses a deep philosophical understanding of strength and responsibility. Flaws. Prone to melancholy and brooding isolation. He can be rigid and stubborn, struggling to adapt to the chaotic and unrefined methods of his new allies. His formality can create a barrier between himself and others. Motivation. To restore honor to Doma and the fire crystal by defeating the Empire and ensuring such a corruption of elemental power can never happen again. He seeks a purpose worthy of his survival. Ifi, abilities and combat style, the Bushido of the Flame. His techniques are not about waiting, but about focusing. Gameplay role, a physical powerhouse and tank. His abilities consume spirit or focus instead of MP, which builds as he takes damage or defends. Signature skills, Bushido, focus. Cyan enters a meditative state for a turn, building his focus gauge. The longer he focuses, the more potent his next technique. Fireblade, default attack. His standard attack is imbued with faint fire energy. Bushido techniques. Each technique is a released burst of focused fire energy. Dragonfang, Lovmer 1, a swift, piercing strike against one foe. Starfall, levels 2, a sweeping arc of fire that strikes all enemies. Quake Strike, 3, slams his blade into the earth, sending a wave of fiery force to damage and potentially stagger enemies. Skyward Blade, level 4, a single colossal vertical slash of concentrated flame on one target replaces Quadra Slam. Cleansing Blaze, level 5, a powerful AoE fire attack that also removes beneficial status effects from enemies, replacing Bushido Fang. Phoenix Rise, level 6, a radiant full party ability that provides auto-life re-raise and a regen effect, representing the fire crystal's power to preserve life and spirit, replacing Tempest. Eternal Pyre, level 7, Ultimate, a single cataclysmic strike that deals immense fire unelemental damage. It represents Cyan unleashing the totality of his spirit, both its noble and grieving aspects, in one final decisive blow. V. Relationships. The party. He acts as the group's moral compass and older brother figure. He shares a bond of loss with Celis, military discipline, Lost Kingdom, and Terra, guiding someone confused by their power. He initially finds Sabin's brute force unrefined, but comes to respect his different philosophy of strength. Gao reminds him of his lost son, bringing out a deep paternal kindness. Kefka. Cyan's hatred for Kefka is deeply personal and philosophical. Kefka represents the chaotic, nihilistic corruption of power that destroyed his world. Their conflict is order versus chaos, honor versus anarchy, purity versus defilement. The Fire Crystal. His relationship is one of devotion and trauma. He feels he failed it, and it, in a way, failed him. His journey is to reconcile with its memory and wield its legacy correctly. V6, key quotes. Upon joining, the fire of Doma is extinguished, but the ember in this heart yet glows. I shall lend my blade to thy cause, that this spark may once more become a beacon. In battle, be purified by flame. My spirit burns undimmed, for the honor of the true flame. In moments of despair, I see their faces still, not as they were, but as the madness took them. A fire that consumes all it touches is no fire at all. It is but destruction's breath. To a party member, grieve not for the flame that is gone, but tend to the spark that remains. For from that single spark, a hearth may be relit. Victory against Kefka. Behold, Jester, this is a fire you cannot snuff out. It is the fire of the human spirit, and it burns eternal.